Schwartz here from DonnaSchwartzMusic.com, the site for practical tips and solutions to improve your music performance skills. I had a really great question, actually last week, from one of my YouTube subscribers, and the question was, Donna, how can you stay calm before a solo? This is a really great question because I think all of us go through the nervousness before we perform. In fact, if you think about it, public speaking is the #1 fear, even before dying. Really, really hard to imagine. When you think about it this way, you know, we talk all the time. With whatever language we talk all the time. But yet when we have to speak in front of a group of people, whether it's small or large, we get really super nervous. And everybody has their own reasons for that, but we just get super, super nervous. Now add to that playing an instrument in front of people that you may or may not know, and the nervousness level goes like through the roof, right? So how do you stay calm before a solo? First tip I have for you is this. The more prepared that you are, the less nervous you will be, okay? Without a doubt. So what do I mean by that? Let's say I'm going to use a concert band setting, for example. Going back to my own history, growing up playing trumpet. And trumpet's a very prominently featured instrument. So a lot of times there'd be a solo in the middle of a concert band arrangement. And I used to think as a young kid, oh my God, the song is all about my solo. It's all about me. No, it's not. That's just maybe one of the highlights of the tune, one of the highlights of the song, one of the peaks of the song, but it's not about me. So what I needed to do, and I did not do this at the time, but as being an adult, you look back and you reflect, I needed to get that focus off of me, okay? So for that solo, I prepared as much as I could at that time, you know, knew it really cold, but what really helps with the preparation, and I'll get into the focusing in a second, but what helps with the preparation is not only knowing your part, knowing what's going on around you, know what's going on before your solo, after your solo, during your solo. If you're playing in a concert band, what are the other instruments doing? What's the melody line that's transpiring throughout the entire band or orchestra? Are you carrying the melody line next, or do you have a counter theme? If you're playing with a rhythm section, jazz, you know, and it's time for your time to improvise. Well, are you listening to the other people improvising? Are you listening to what they're doing, what they're playing in their lines? Is there some little snippet of a melody that you heard and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Let me take that and expand that on my solo. Have you heard something like that? Are you listening to the rhythm section? Are you listening to how the bass player's keeping the groove and, you know, keeping the time and also just keeping the chords down? Do you know what the chords are underneath what you're playing? You know, as an improviser, we kind of have to know that. I can tell you as a horn player, a lot of times I've been in bands where we've gotten horn charts. You're on a sub gig, right? You get horn charts and we play lines. But there's no chords written down. There's usually never chords written down, you know, when you're playing those lines. So if you're playing a tune that you don't know, you have to have a really good set of ears to know what the chord sequence is going on underneath you and how your line fits in. Sometimes you don't have the time to even think about that. You're sitting there sight reading something that's really, really hard. But it makes it really hard when you're totally out of context with these lines and you're not sure what's going on. So the best thing to do to prepare, really know the tune very well. All aspects of it, not just your part, all aspects of it. Okay, so that's the first thing I would recommend. I alluded to the second thing. It's not about you. It's about the tune, the song, the piece. It's also about the audience. We play music for an audience, whether the audience is ourselves, our family, our church, or a large stage. Or if you're in a marching band, right, the audience on the side of the road. It's about the audience too. You know, one of the things I think about every time that I perform is this. I think about reaching that one person in the audience who may be having the worst day in creation, and they got the energy to get themselves off the couch to just go out and try to change their mood. And I want to be the person that flips the switch and changes their mood and made them really happy that they went out that evening or that day to hear that performance. If you take the focus off of you and put it onto how can I help the audience? How can I help this piece sound that much better? It's going to take some of the nerves away as well. Okay, so it's preparation. It's not all about you. And I alluded to it also, it's focusing on the other instruments in the band or on the audience members. The last thing that we forget is that, well, why'd you take up the instrument in the first place? To have fun. If we, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience too, I used to get so stressed out about playing. Now, I love music. I can't live without it. But I'd put so much of that pressure and stress on me to make sure everything was perfect. I forgot how to have fun. What's the point of playing? So have fun. So if if you got this big solo, have fun. Okay? Do you have to play it note for note? Not necessarily. All right? The thing also too is that if with improvisation, and I know this is true with a lot of folks, when we grow up and we're going through the public school system, you get in a jazz band, there's some canned, written out solos in the jazz arrangements. And you sit there and you learn them, you memorize them, and you got all this stress because you're like, oh my God, I got to memorize this thing, it doesn't make sense to me, all that kind of thing. The more that you rely on like a memorized solo without understanding everything behind it, that's when that creates a lot of stress and tension, and that can cause more nervousness, more anxiety. But again, knowing everything about the piece, but also just relaxing. And if there are band directors watching this or jazz band teachers or whatever watching this, try to approach improvisation a little bit differently, in the sense of try to give your students some freedom to improvise, some creative ideas, just using one or two notes. I've got a bunch of videos about that already, on my website, on my YouTube channel, check those out. But give your kids or your beginners that creativity to just start off with a couple of notes so that they are more relaxed. Because it's really stressful for those kids to read those canned solos that may be beyond their capability, certainly of understanding what they're doing, and maybe a little bit beyond their ability of what to play. So we want to increase the fun factor, and that's one of the ways to do that. Okay, so those are my thoughts with regard to staying calm during and actually even before your solo. Just have fun, engage with the band members, engage with the audience. That's also really good. Think about how you speak with your friends. You want to think about that as well. You're calm, you're relaxed, you're having fun, okay? And be prepared. Being prepared is super, super duper important. If we're not prepared, there's more of a chance that we're going to feel like we're going to mess up, okay? And by the way, if you make a mistake, really, so what? Really. As one of my mentors in a regular job, I also have a social work degree, by the way, and one of the best supervisors I ever had said this to me. I worked in a senior center. I was a social worker, and then I was a director. But she said to me, Donna, if it's not a life or death issue, so what? If it's not a life or death issue, so what? Okay? So, and I didn't mean to put a pun on Miles Davis's tune, but don't put that extra pressure on yourself. Just go out there, have fun. If you've worked on this really intricate solo and you worked really hard at it, just relax. Get your mind into the music, and then that music's going to flow through you. Okay? I wanted to mention another resource for you. I almost forgot. There's a great book out there. There's many great books. Okay, there's The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Gallwey. The Inner Game of Music by Timothy Gallwey, but also Barry Green was the main writer of that. But there's also Effortless Mastery by Kenny Werner. That book is available definitely at jazzbooks.com. That's the Jamie Aebersold site. All these should be available on Amazon. What those books do is to get you out of your head. If you're so far into your head and thinking about you, you're more apt to make mistakes. But if you're in the experience, in the moment, you're in flow. You're in like a flow state. And that's the best state to be in. because you're really contributing to the whole experience. So check out those books, Inner Game of Tennis, Inner Game of Music, Effortless Mastery. Okay? And that's basically it. So I hope you like this tip. Please sign up on my website for my free weekly newsletter where you get practical tips and solutions like this, plus more that are not necessarily publicly available. They're only available to my subscribers. So go to DonnaSchwartzMusic.com, and right now, the free thing you could get is a free video, 3 tips to fatten up your saxophone tone. Whether it's for you or for your students, definitely check it out. Hey, thanks for joining me. Take care. Have a great day.